Hello, this is our Voice Stories channel. Hook. She won't fight back. The glass slipped from my fingers and shattered across the tiles, scattering fragments that caught the dim kitchen light. My father's voice still lingered in the air like smoke. She won't fight back. She never does. Each word cut deeper than any shard at my feet. The scent of cinnamon and pine, usually comforting, turned sharp, almost taunting. The warmth that once lived in this house had vanished long ago. I crouched, pretending to clean, gathering the pieces one by one. But what I was really doing was collecting the remnants of myself. In that still, echoing silence, something inside me quietly broke, and something stronger began to rebuild. The obedient daughter I used to be died right there, without ceremony. My name is Clara Wynne, and from that night forward, every illusion they'd ever crafted about me began to burn. They thought I'd bow my head again, just like always. They thought wrong. The quiet ones don't stay quiet forever. When I was 8, Harper had a birthday party with a clown, balloons, and a towering 3-tiered cake covered in pink frosting roses. I got Domino's pizza, lukewarm soda, and a half-burned cake that tasted like apology. Mom said money was tight, but Harper's smile always had its own budget. I tried to convince myself it didn't matter, that love could come in simpler forms, but in our house, affection had a hierarchy, and I was permanently at the bottom. By 12, I stopped asking for attention. By 16, I stopped expecting it. At 18, I learned that invisibility could be a kind of shield. Graduation day proved the lesson true. The gym was filled with proud parents, cheering for their children. I stood in my gown, holding my diploma, scanning the crowd for a single familiar face. None were there. My family was out shopping for Harper's dorm room instead. People said I was the calm one, the dependable one. But silence back then wasn't strength, it was survival. Years drifted by. While they celebrated Harper's promotions, her wedding, her children, I built something they couldn't take from me. Stability. My condo became proof of that. My first real home, one that smelled of peace instead of control. I decorated it simply, pine garlands, cinnamon candles, soft light. It was mine, bought without their blessing or help. At night, I'd stand in the center of its stillness, listening to the hum of the city below. Freedom echoed through the quiet, gentle, lonely, beautiful, and a little painful. But independence looks like rebellion to people who live on power. Sometimes I remembered my father's promise from when I was small. I'll always protect you, Clary. But protection had turned into silence, his favorite disguise. Now, silence belonged to me, but I wielded it differently. That night in the kitchen wasn't the first betrayal, but it was the one that sealed everything. They'd taken my voice for years. Now they were about to hear what silence truly sounded like. The next morning, the air in the house felt heavy, as though even sunlight hesitated to touch the tiles. Harper leaned against the counter, too casual, too innocent. "Wouldn't it be fun if we moved in here with you?" she said, syrup dripping from her voice like poison. "The kids would love it." My parents exchanged a look, quick, triumphant. They had rehearsed this. I forced a tired smile, lowering my eyes as always. "Maybe it could work," I murmured softly. Her face brightened instantly, tears glittering with victory disguised as affection. They thought I had folded once again. But compliance had become my armor, and behind it, something sharp stirred awake. For years, I had mistaken silence for peace. Now I saw it for what it really was, preparation. That afternoon, I stopped by my mother's house, pretending to return a forgotten Christmas ornament. The air smelled of her perfume and bleach, that perfect mix of cleanliness and control. She was fussing over cookies when I noticed a stack of papers neatly aligned at the edge of the table. Curiosity tugged at me. I stepped closer. Legal headers, fine print, and then my name scrawled in handwriting that wasn't mine. My breath hitched. The world tilted. Ink and betrayal blurred together. My fingers traced the forged signature, practiced, precise, utterly wrong. They had really done it. They were trying to transfer ownership of my condo. Every softened tone, every fake concern. It had all been part of the performance leading up to this. When my father walked into the room, he froze for half a second, then forced that polished funeral smile he'd mastered. "Ah, Clary," he said too lightly, sliding the papers into a drawer like guilt could be hidden away. "You weren't supposed to see that. It's just for family unity." Family unity. That's what he called erasing my name. My lips parted, but no words emerged. Rage was too dense to pass through my throat. And in that moment, flashes of all the other betrayals came rushing back. Birthdays ignored, promises broken, apologies that never meant anything. Every swallowed emotion now returned like fire, burning behind my ribs. I excused myself, calm on the outside, walked out the door, didn't breathe until I reached my car. My hands trembled so badly I could barely turn the key. My nails dug into my palm until the skin split, a small bead of blood glimmering in the light. That was when the truth crystallized. I wasn't their daughter anymore. I was their obstacle. The car engine came to life with a growl, and under that sound, one thought pulsed steady and sure. If they wanted a war, they'd get one. But it would be fought my way. I met Naomi by what seemed like coincidence, though maybe fate had arranged it. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon at a small cafe near my office. She noticed me first, a distant acquaintance from years back. Her voice carried that weary resonance of someone who'd been betrayed too. We talked for a while about family, about how love could turn into a weapon when used by the wrong people. When I mentioned the condo, she hesitated, then set her cup down slowly. "If you ever want out," she said softly, "I'll buy it. Market price, no drama." Her words lingered between us like a door cracked open. For the first time in months, I smiled, really smiled. Freedom sometimes wears the face of paperwork. That night, I went home and ran the numbers. I reread every clause, every line. Each figure became a memory, every sentence a quiet farewell. By dawn, the plan had solidified in my mind. Sell, transfer, disappear from their reach. Naomi was efficient, cool where I was burning. Within a week, every document had been signed. I remember how my hand trembled as I wrote my name. It wasn't just ink. It was liberation carved in black. The funds went into a private trust under my control. No loopholes, no traces, no way back for them. Meanwhile, I played the role they expected. The compliant daughter, the soft-spoken sister. I even helped Harper choose curtain colors for her new home. She laughed, praising my taste. Mom's eyes misted at what she thought was generosity. Even my father looked proud, thinking peace had returned. They believed every second of it. Every sigh, every downcast glance. What they didn't realize was that I had rewritten the entire script. Online, Harper posted photos of her big move. The U-Haul, the boxes, the caption glowing with triumph. "New year, new home." Underneath, she wrote, "Moving into my sister's gorgeous condo downtown." Hundreds of likes. Dozens of comments about how lucky we were to have each other. My parents shared it with pride. So grateful for family unity. I tapped the like button too. But it wasn't agreement. It was the start of a countdown. A few days later, Harper texted, "We're moving in this weekend," with a heart emoji. I stared at the message, feeling a chill crawl up my spine. They were celebrating their own downfall, and I didn't even need to lift a finger. Time was on my side, and time never lies. Every compliment they received only built their pedestal higher. The higher the pedestal, the harder the fall. That Saturday arrived gray and cold, the kind of day that made breath visible and truth sharper. The U-Haul pulled up right on schedule. Harper jumped out first, her scarf fluttering, joy rehearsed to perfection. Her husband barked orders, waving like a commander. My parents followed behind, proud, glowing. Neighbors gathered at their balconies, pretending not to stare, phones quietly recording. Everyone can sense when a storm is about to break. Harper's kids ran around, giggling, dragging boxes bigger than themselves. My father clutched a ring of keys like a trophy and marched to the door. He jabbed one key into the lock. Nothing. He tried another. Still nothing. "Did you change it already?" Harper asked, laughing nervously. He didn't answer. A third attempt. Silence. Mom's smile began to crumble. Whispers rippled through the crowd. And then came her voice. Steady, clear, undeniable. Maybe that's because it's not yours anymore. Heads turned. Naomi stood at the curb, crimson coat vivid against the pale morning, a coffee in one hand and a folder in the other. The wind lifted her hair like punctuation. She stepped forward, heels sharp against the pavement. "This condo belongs to me now," she said evenly. "Evelyn sold it weeks ago. Here's the proof." She held up the documents, stamped, notarized, final. For a heartbeat, the street went still. Then came the collapse. Mom's hand flew to her chest. Harper's face drained white. Her husband's voice cracked. "That's impossible." But paper doesn't argue, it only tells the truth. Phones were lifted higher. Gasps turned to murmurs. Then laughter. The proud family image shattered in front of them, caught on camera from every angle. My father stammered, "This is a misunderstanding." His voice cracked halfway through. Naomi slid a key into the lock. It turned smoothly. The click was louder than any shout. From my car parked down the street, I watched through the rearview mirror. The entire scene unfolded like theater, each movement choreographed by their own arrogance. Harper dropped a box. It hit the pavement with a hollow thud that sounded like an ending. My parents stood frozen, their reflections warped in the condo's glass doors. The humiliation was total, public, permanent. I didn't smile. I didn't cry. I just watched the door close behind Naomi and felt 30 years of weight lift from my chest. As I drove away, the city lights stretched into silver lines across my windshield. For the first time, I wasn't running from them. I was simply leaving them behind. Weeks passed quietly after that. No more late-night calls. No more apologies wrapped in guilt. Just silence, pure, earned, deserved. The headlines died down. Their faces faded from gossip threads and church whispers. I discovered something profound in the stillness. Peace doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need validation. It just needs space to exist. Every morning, I opened my windows to the ocean air. Waves replaced their voices. Coffee steamed in my hands as sunlight slid across the floor. For the first time in my life, I didn't need permission to feel safe. Sometimes I think of that shattered glass, the one that started it all. Back then, I thought breaking meant ending. Now I know it meant beginning. I've stopped replaying the betrayal. The why doesn't matter anymore. It won't change the who I've become. I am no longer the forgotten daughter. I am the woman who refused to stay erased. The one who turned silence into armor and truth into freedom. Harper can keep her stories. My parents can hold their pride. I have peace, my name, and the life they never believed I could build. If you've ever felt invisible, remember this: absence itself is power. You don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to walk away and never look back. Because sometimes, the most devastating revenge isn't fury. It's living a life they can never touch. Have you ever faced something like this? Tell me in the comments, I'll be reading. And if this story found you tonight, know that you're not alone. If it touched your heart, please like and share it with someone who needs it. And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories that remind us we are always stronger than the people who tried to break us. Goodbye.